Hello and welcome to Impact with Kenny Anderson. I'm the Multicultural Affairs Officer for the City of Huntsville, and it's my pleasure every day to move through this community, meeting and working with so many different organizations and groups that are making an impact in our community. Huntsville really is a great city to live, and we're very fortunate with all of the multiple things that are going on in this community that have an impact on the quality of life. And today, of course, we're going to talk with a couple of guests who are going to share some great information, and I would even say some very exciting information about a new initiative that's actually happening right now in the city and that you can be a part of. And we'll tell you how to do that in just a little while. But first of all, I want to introduce my guest to the broadcast. Dr. Harry Hobbs is Communication Relations Officer for the Huntsville Police Department. And I want to welcome him to the broadcast for the first time today. This will, of course, be one of many times we have you on because you're always doing something in the community. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, Kenny. Thanks.
It's good to have you here today. And you're, of course, with a very special guest. And I say that because she is going to be telling us in just a little bit about that exciting thing that I just mentioned a moment ago. She's Sue Cheek. She's coordinator for Caring House right here in Huntsville, and we'll tell you a little bit about what Caring House is in just a few moments. But Sue, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Well, it's so good to have both of you here today. And, you know, Dr. Hobbs, like I said, this is one of many times I'm sure I'll have you on the broadcast because you are moving through the community doing so many great things. And I know that you'll be the first to say that it's a team effort, but
yes,
of course, with any team, there has to be a vision and a leader. And in many ways, you lead out in some really cool initiatives in this community. If I was a kid, I'd want to be down with some of the stuff you're doing, actually. So I'm very happy to know that you're taking a lead on a lot of these things. One of those things is something that perhaps people in Huntsville have not heard of. I'm not sure why they would not have heard of it by now.
Yes, sir.
But it may be possible. So this is a good opportunity to introduce those individuals to Community Awareness for Youth, the CAFE initiative that you launched just a few years ago. Tell us a little bit about what CAFE is.
Well, CAFE, I'm a retired Army guy, 30 years. I love acronyms, C-A-F-Y, Community Awareness for Youth. When I was fortunate enough to get the position as the Communications Relations Officer for the City of Huntsville, one of my initial goals was to reach out to our youth and to set up some type of venue where we could communicate with the youth, offer them opportunities to succeed, because we know that if you offer young folks opportunities to succeed, then they'll grab those opportunities and do good things versus having an idle mind and maybe just not having the right information to make good choices. So I presented that to our chief of police and to the mayor and to the city and got a green light. And so we're getting ready for our 4th annual Community Awareness for Youth. And that'll happen August the 16th, 2014, third Saturday of every August. And what we do there is we set up a venue with 4 pillars of success for health, education, careers, and finances. We have over 100 sponsors, businesses, Team Redstone, all of Madison County, City of Huntsville, Madison, and surrounding cities, and we all come together and we set up those 4 pillars of success to help young folks become more informed so they can make a decision, maybe what career they want, educational opportunities, ways to be in better physical fitness, ways to eat right, and to also invest their money. And so we're very excited about that. Now, that was a one-day event. It takes us about 6 months to ramp up. But what we're specifically talking about today now is an extension of the Community Awareness for Youth.
And that's great, but hang on just a minute because we got a little time to talk about this.
Yes.
I want to make sure people know about this. And even though it's coming up in August, we want people to already be thinking about and being prepared. And one of the things that happens oftentimes when people talk about various initiatives is they talk about it in isolation because they've heard about it. But I've had a chance to actually be at CAFE every year. And I mean, when you said the 4th year just a few moments ago, I thought, wow, has it been 4 years already?
Yes.
That's pretty amazing. And I've watched the process grow. I've watched it gain energy. I've watched more people come to the table. And that has to be very, very satisfying for you as a community servant, seeing so many different arms of the community working together and coming together. We often say that Huntsville's a great city to live, work, and play, and this has to be part of what this is all about, especially as it relates to our young people.
Well, and Ken, you're exactly right. The support has been overwhelming. You were one of the first ones in the community that were on the ground floor and quickly volunteered to be a part of this process. And a little bit of this, the beginning, the genesis of this was my own experience as a young person growing up as well. Grew up without my parents in kind of a disadvantaged situation. But I had folks in the community that gave me the information, the mentorship that I needed to succeed. So I always told myself, if I had an opportunity to synergize some type of organization that could help young folks, then I want to duplicate that, because I'm here today standing on the shoulders of many folks that invested in me. And believe me, you know, when they say it takes a village, it probably took a city or probably a state to get me where I'm at today, you know, because it took many folks many times tapping me with information and leading me in the right direction. So initially when I had the idea, I was worried that I would get some pushback. It's something new. It's out of hide, if you will. There's no budget. There's a lot going on in our great city anyway. What do we need one more thing for? So I had those self-doubts, but I quickly got over them because I realized that if I didn't, then it wouldn't happen. Yeah. And so I went forward in prayer and in faith, and everywhere I went, no one told me no.
Wow.
In fact, they told me yes and then some.
Wow.
And so the first year, we had 1,000 folks. The second year, we had over 2,000. The third year, we had over 2,500 and probably would have had 3,000. As you know, we had a little weather issue.
Right.
But on the third year, we also had the talent show.
Yeah.
Madison County's Got Talent.
That's right.
So any young folks out there that got talent, be a part of this. We're giving away trophies and some cash prizes. And folks can really find out about CAFE. Just go to www.huntsvillecafe.com, and also we have a CAFE Facebook, and it'll kind of show you exactly what CAFE is. It'll show you the pictures through the years, how we're building synergy and consensus here and growing to give young folks in this community a great opportunity to succeed. Our target market is the 7th through the 12th grade, but 1 to 99 can come.
And that's really cool too. It's one of those things that so many people can benefit from. You have so many different arms of this.
Yes.
When you're out there at the Jaycees Fairground in John Hunt Park, and you see all of these people moving around, there's music,
Yes.
there's laughter, there's entertainment, there's information sharing, there's food.
Free.
Free, that's right. And the real exciting thing about this, Harry, for me, is that it's kind of a one-stop shop for people. Yes. You know, it's right at the front of the school year, and parents, of course, and guardians are asking all these different questions about the success of their young person for the school year.
Yes.
How can I find the resources that I need to be successful? Because we're really getting ready to ramp this year up, and there are all kinds of demands that are going to be placed on us. How can I be successful? And then you've brought this whole village together under one roof, essentially, with a little bit of outside stuff happening. Yes. But all the information is right there in one place. And so a person can literally walk into that environment and walk out a transformed person, an elevated person, a more informed person, an inspired person, an energized person. And they can experience all these things in the moment that can really have a huge impact on their success.
Well, and you're exactly right. Some people will say, you build this thing for 6 or 7 months, it only happens a couple of hours. What difference is it going to make? And my comeback to them is, it took about a 10-minute conversation to change my life forever. I spoke with a professional when I was a young man in grade school that told me I had what it takes to be a PhD. And guess what? That resonated in me, and I believed that. Now, it took me a non-traditional long way to get there, but those words were gold to me. Yeah. And at the Community Awareness for Youth, we have educators there and counselors from K to PhD. We have different colleges set up. We have different businesses, whether it's military, public safety, a research park. As you know, we have more PhDs here in Al Kappa than in Washington, D.C. on the last statistics. And we have all those folks out here showing the young folks opportunities to succeed. And that's exactly what we wanted, Kenny, a one-stop shop where you come in. And also, the first 500 kids last year got a free book bag with school supplies. And we're trying to grow that number each year. So imagine this. It's a Saturday. It's a wonderful day. You walk in. the kids get a little tag, and then they get a free book bag. They walk around, get all this information, get free food all day long, meet some city officials, the mayor, some local generals, some local businessmen that maybe council members they wouldn't rub shoulders with, spend some quality time. Then they go to the dance floor and have a great time and maybe win the talent show. Yeah. And then we go back to the dining facility where we have our motivational speakers. And then we connect folks. Parents come in and sign up with these civic organizations. And then there's a follow-up later. We have an active website that will always link and collaborate folks. It's a win-win for the city. Yeah. And it doesn't cost anybody anything. Everything is donated because of the great community we live in.
Wow. I mean, that's just such a powerful testament. And, you know, Sue, we're talking about working with kids and the great work that I think our community does in focusing on young people. I think our community is second to none, and I would stand us up to anybody out there in the community. We're growing in different ways. We're being challenged with different things, but I think there's a goodwill effort to make this community the best community for young people to be in. Absolutely. And even though there may still be some gaps in some areas, I think that people are really trying hard to figure out how to really make this the ideal place for young people to grow up. You, of course, work with children and young people in a different capacity through Caring House. And Caring House is one of those entities in our community that people may or may not be familiar with. So tell us a little bit about what Caring House is.
Well, the Caring House is a bereavement center here in Huntsville for children from 3 to 18 years of age that have had a loss of a parent or a sibling, a best friend, a grandparent, or another extended member of their family. Most of these children have lost someone through suicide, murder. It can be cancer, it can be a tragic accident. So we provide those services, try to teach them good coping skills and how to make good choices. I will make a note of what Dr. Hobbs was saying. The Caring House has set up a booth there at the cafe in August 2 years ago, and we had so much fun. We learned a lot about what the children's needs were in the community, and we had a lot of fun. So I challenge any agency out there to come out with your information, meet these children. You'll have as much fun as they will. Yeah.
You know, now the work you do is so important, and I told you before we went on the air that I actually spoke with some folks from Hospice Family Care in one of our previous broadcasts. And we just spent a lot of time talking about the dynamics of grief and why that kind of service is so important to so many people because of human misery, because of human suffering, because of death. We're surrounded by it all the time. It's a much different experience for young people when they deal with that.
And lots of times, the children are the forgotten mourners. The parents are so engulfed in their own grief that sometimes they forget that children are actually grieving as well. They just grieve differently from what adults do. And there are different signs that children are in trouble when they are grieving.
Can you give us some example of how they grieve differently and what maybe some of the different signs might be?
Certainly. A lot of our children, especially the younger children, they think of magical thinking. They think that someone's going to come back that has died, and they don't often realize the permanency of death. They will often play through their grief. And sometimes you will see children that have problems in school. They may not be able to concentrate. Some of the same things that you actually see in adults as well. But children have that grieving, and their process is different. They may grieve for a little while, and then they will go play, and then they'll come back and grieve, you know, a little later. So you do see that difference in children at times.
At what point do you say to people, and I know you get this question, even though we haven't talked before this, but you've got to get this question. I have a 5-year-old, and they just lost a parent. How much do I tell that 5-year-old? I'm sure you get those kinds of questions about age appropriateness in terms of how you communicate with children and young people. Do you have some basic guidelines? I know every situation is different, obviously.
Absolutely.
But do you have some basic guidelines for people to think about? Because this is something that a lot of people deal with and don't know how. I mean, there's no manual.
That's right.
That you're given in terms of how do you deal with grief.
Right, right. And one of the things we tell parents is be honest with your children explain it to them at their own developmental level, but realize that children are going to ask questions. They're curious, especially young children. They're curious about death, and they're going to ask questions, and you need to be as honest with them. They trust you as a parent, and so they expect for you to tell them the honest truth about how someone died. I think preparing a child is the most important thing that you can do, whether it be to take them to a funeral, let them know what they're going to be seeing, what's that funeral going to look like, because that's really important to a child.
And for the child who says, and I've actually seen this myself up close and personally, I don't really want to go to the funeral. I don't want to go to the gravesite because maybe the memories are too painful, or they're not quite ready to deal with that loss and transition.
Right.
Do you respect that child's wishes?
Absolutely. I think, again, you prepare them, you show them that people are going to be crying, what the body's going to look like, those kind of things, but ultimately you give them a choice. And if they really do not want to be a part of that, then absolutely, I would say respect that.
Yeah. I think there's just so much that we can learn from those kinds of initiatives, and I'm glad they're here and a part of our community because they certainly meet an important need. And then to be a part of the CAFE initiative, I think, is a further demonstration of how well-rounded CAFE has attempted to be in terms of addressing the needs of youth and young people in this community. So I think that's just totally exciting. And like I said, Dr. Hobbs, every time I talk to you, there's something exciting happening.
Well,
so we've got it happening one more time.
That's right.
CAFE has really anchored itself in our community, looking at year 4 now, and sometime between last CAFE and the upcoming CAFE, another thing has evolved, and you've given birth to something else. So we've got this big announcement to make that has already been made, I'm sure, in different areas, but this is probably one of the first televised events.
It is.
Where we're announcing this. So announce and let us know what's going on now with the CAFE initiative.
I almost feel like I need a drum roll.
Yeah.
But we are very excited. But before I jump to that, I would tell you, Sue, I appreciate everything you and your organization is doing. And it's great organizations and civic organizations like yours that make our community what it is. And that's why we realize that maybe if they might not have really fit into maybe those 4 pillars, but it rounds us out as people because people have ups and downs in life, and we have to be there for them. And I appreciate that.
Absolutely, thank you.
And what we realized with the Community Awareness for Youth was we needed an extension, or a branch, if you will, something that we could have every month to keep it out there, to keep folks interested in that reservoir of information at the Facebook site as well as at the website. And we wanted to recognize young folks because CAFE is about youth. And so some of, the first time I said I had my brainchild about CAFE, it was kind of like, Dr. Brown in Back to the Future with the flux capacitor, although I wasn't where he was when he got his vision. But I got another vision, if you will, about recognizing a young citizen every month in a special way. And so now we have partnered with one of the local radio stations with Star 99.1. So now we have a Star 99.1 CAFE Young Citizen of the Month. And what this program simply does is it recognizes a citizen from 7th to the 12th grade in one of our great school systems here in Madison County, for all of Madison County with our 3 different school districts, where it will take a teacher, a civic organization leader, or clergy, can't be a family member, a local leader in the community to nominate this young citizen. They have to go to the radio station link at mystar99.com, and it's a simple application process, and just say what this young person did. And then that adult has to kind of shepherd that young citizen that they recommend through the process. And so we've just had our first board.
Yeah.
Where we had several applicants, and we voted. It's 5 different areas, like the Star, 5 areas, and Star Radio. And we want
those 5 areas are just kind of so people can kind of know what they might be thinking about. They include what?
What they include what the young citizen did. Okay, why they do it, how long have they been doing it, who do they affect and what has the difference that they've made.
Yeah.
And so we get a well-rounded picture of this citizen, young citizen. We hold a board, a process to where, and we have a grading criteria, and it's very competitive. And then we pick one winner every month, and we're launching our inaugural winner. But also the good news is not only will this young lady win for the month of January, but then every year the monthly winners will vie for the annual winner. And so with that said, our initial winner, may I say the name now?
You sure can, yeah.
Is Miss Alanis Craig. And we're very excited, and I'll let Miss Sue talk about her a little bit.
Right,
but
because
what a great citizen she is, and she really epitomizes what we set the program up for.
Mm-hmm. You know, I am so excited for Alanis myself. I really cannot think of any young lady probably more deserving of such an award.
And so you're the nominator.
I'm the
for
nominator.
Her. Just like we said, there's a community person that nominates the young person.
Mm-hmm. And like Dr. Hobbs said, it's an easy process, or because I got it, I was able to do this. But Alanis, I met her through the Caring House. She lost her mom when she was 8 years of age, and it left her and her younger brother with a grandmother. And the grandmother went to work to try to raise these two children on her own. Alanis has done a wonderful job of taking care of her younger brother and putting his needs before her own always. And so she came to the Caring House to develop some coping skills, to learn to make some choices, and to just deal with this very, very difficult time in her life. And she was able to accomplish that. And as we always say, you never get over your grief, but it softens over the years. And for Alanis, she has done so much for this community as a result, and she wanted to give back. And so in the past 3 years, Alanis has been coming to the Caring House and volunteering her summers with us, and does an excellent job. She's so dependable, she's so humble, and so conscientious. And we just love Alanis, and we just could not be more excited for her. Besides the Caring House, I do want to say that she has been involved in so many other organizations. She works with United Way. She's worked at the as a youth service council, worked several different years with that council, working with CASA and the Boys and Girls Club, the Downtown Mission, so many different avenues that she's worked with. So we feel like she is definitely deserving with all the giving back that she has done.
Yeah, you know, I've got the nomination form right here, and this is just such a, I think, spectacular way to launch this initiative because Alanis obviously is a very special person.
Yes.
She is.
Who has gone through some real challenges in life and somehow has been able to see her way through.
That's right.
Sure has.
Which I think is a testament to the Caring House first and the great work that you do, but also the thing that was put inside of her to now give something back.
That's right.
You know, here's a child who lost a mother at the age of 8 in an auto accident. And she is surrounded then by people in her community who care about her and love her and walk with her through her grief. And then she at some point says, you know what? I'm feeling blessed. I'm feeling restored. I'm feeling energized. I want to give something back. This is why we have such a great community.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I could not think of, at this moment, I cannot think of a greater story to tell on this broadcast, impact, than this story, because it's people like Alanis that make the difference. And Alanis would have been here today with us except for the fact that what?
She wanted to remain in school. That was very important to her.
Wow. Wow. Dr. Hobbs, when you see this type of nomination and this winner, because she was in a very large group of people,
Yes.
pool of people who she was selected from, all of whom had some great credentials too.
Exactly.
So what does that What does that feel like for you as a person who has this passion for young people, who has been a beneficiary of so many things in life because people said to you, Harry, keep going, you can make it.
That's right.
And affirmed you and said, attaboy, you know. And now you're in a position to actually guide and direct that kind of an initiative now, and then see somebody like Alanis come to the table and be recognized. What does that mean to you?
Well, just as you both are speaking to, Alanis is just, it gives me goosebumps that this young lady has done what she has done with the help of others, has picked herself up and now synergizes other folks to get through grief. It's a very humbling experience for me to be I know on paper I'm the director of the organization, kind of the face and voice of the organization, but there are so many volunteers involved. And as you know this, over 100 volunteers, 150 volunteers, and so many organizations come together to synergize to do this. But I feel so blessed that I can be the one sometimes that can reach out in a visceral way and touch a child in a positive way to give them that formal pat on the back, that confirmation that you are doing great things. Continue to march, as we used to say in the military. Go to your next target, go to your next goal, take that mountain and share your story and bring other folks with you. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, I get a little excited. I'm sorry if I get a little excited about this, but if you invest in these young folks and encourage them, they will be our next greatest generation.
Right. And isn't that the message that we need to always keep at the forefront of our interacting with young people, whether we're parents, directors, leaders of different organizations, within the context of the faith community, our education system, that we need to keep their potential in front of us at all time. And the idea that it's really our responsibility to nurture that and give them that. We talk about our young people oftentimes as our future. And the reality is, if they break down in the present, there isn't much of a future to be looking forward to. We want to build them in their present circumstances and care for them in such a way that they can believe in themselves, because we're going to turn it over to them one day. Harry, you and I are not going to do what we do forever, Sue. We're not going to do it forever.
That's correct.
We're going to sit down one day and we're going to pass the baton and say, now run. And if we've not trained those kids to run the race that we need them to run, it will be our responsibility.
You're exactly right. And one of the other things that we want to espouse is it's not a zero mistake environment.
Yes.
Sometimes we raise our kids, and I'm speaking to me, as an educator and as a military person, I probably raised my kids on a very narrow path, but we have to understand that young folks have to find out who they are, and then we have to encourage them.
You know, I've had a great conversation with you guys today. I mean, I feel inspired, and this is just a wonderful, wonderful way to really kick off this Young Citizen of the Month event. The big announcement on this broadcast.
Awesome.
But knowing that somebody like Alanis is out there doing her thing and will be recognized in a lot of ways. And I know we're out of time, but City Council proclamation by the mayor and package from 99, Star 99, some other appearances.
A special coin from the organization. I'll present a prize pack and TV and paper interviews. I mean, we really want to let the community know what's going on, but they didn't do it for that, but we want to give it to them.
That's right. Dr. Harry Hobbs, thank you for being here with us today. We appreciate all that you're doing and continue the great work.
Thank you, sir.
Suchik, thank you for being here today. We thank you for the great work that you're doing.
And I just wanted to add that I know a lot of people out in the community don't even know that Alanis even had a loss. Wow. And she has coped with drawing and doing all kinds of art and writing and has worked in inspiring these leadership skills in others, and I couldn't be happier. So thank you, Dr. Hobbs, for this program,
well,
and
we're all
Kenny, thank you
pleased.
for having us.
And thank you for being a part of the broadcast today. We want to thank you for being a part of Impact with Kenny Anderson, and we invite you to tune in on a regular basis as we continue to shine the light on all the great things that are happening in the Huntsville, Madison County community. Thank you for being with us, and we'll talk again.
'cause I never had a plan.